Well, moving on to our big focus on left, right and centre tonight, and that is the footbridge collapse in Mumbai. A day later, an attempt is at least being made to fix responsibility, and it turns out that there was a structural audit that had been done just some months earlier on this particular footbridge, and a preliminary report done by Mumbai's municipal corporation, the BMC, has actually found that that audit was conducted in what they're calling an irresponsible and negligent manner. 6 people were killed yesterday when a large chunk of that footbridge came down near the iconic CST station. More than 30 people were injured. My colleague Saurabh Gupta now joining us with the latest from Mumbai. Saurabh, tell us more about what the BMC's report is saying. Also, we're hearing that a couple of engineers have also been suspended.
Well, yes, some action from the BMC. Clearly, one thing that's been accepted is that this pedestrian foot over bridge was actually under the responsibility of the BMC, and so obviously the BMC is the body that's now also taking care of the action that's happening here, which is of course bringing the structure down now, because that's what's important at the moment for the authorities. Obviously now also this road is being opened up, because once this structure is moved overnight, this road, which is a major thoroughfare for South Mumbai bound traffic, will also be restored to traffic. But the bigger question really is maximum cities crumbling infrastructure. We've seen bridge collapses in the last year, and every time there is an audit, there is a probe, some engineers are suspended. But the real problem is that in spite of these incidents, we don't seem to be learning lessons. The lives of citizens seem to be going very cheap in the city, given the fact that so many people continue to die for the lack of basic maintenance of infrastructure like this one, as a result of which we see accidents where a bridge that's perfectly functional, at least to the naked eye, comes crashing down, resulting in the loss of 6 lives.
Right, Saurabh, thanks a lot for that update from Mumbai there. And just to give our viewers a sense of why there is so much anger against the BMC, the Bombay Municipal Corporation. This is why, because it is Asia's richest civic body. It's not that the BMC doesn't have money. It's not that they don't have funds, but they are Asia's richest civic body. And this is a sense of their budget. Their budget for 2019-2020 is more than 30,000 crores. Just for the BMC alone, remember, more than 30,000 crores. The allocation for the reconstruction and repair of bridges alone is more than 108 crores. For traffic, for roads and bridges, you can see there are massive amounts that have been sanctioned for that. More than 1,400 crores, in fact, almost 1,500 crores was sanctioned in 2017-18. And in fact, even higher numbers now in the coming year, more than 2,200 crores being sanctioned for this. So at the end of the day, the citizens of Mumbai and indeed in other cities, people are asking, where exactly is this money going? Joining us tonight on the program is the Congress's Milind Deora, also Niranjan Shetty of the BJP, and Mr. Chandrasekhar Prabhu, who's an urban planner, is with us as well. Milind Deora, to you first. You were there at the site immediately after all of this happened last night. Now, what do you think of this preliminary report, Milind, that the BMC has come out with today, saying yes, the structural audit, was negligent, and they've also taken action against a couple of engineers. Do you think that at least they're trying to fix responsibility this time?
See, I'm very concerned and perturbed and disturbed as a Mumbaikar, because if an average Mumbaikar can't feel safe walking on a foot over bridge and without the fear of dying, then what are we talking about when we say, let's have a bullet train? When I visited the site yesterday, I knew immediately that this was a BMC bridge. I learned that about 5 or 6 months ago, the BMC had ordered an audit. Now, if the audit itself said that the bridge requires only minor repairs, that tells you about the kind of collusion that happens between the BMC, between the authorities, and even a structural auditor. Today, for instance, I was asked by a journalist that should the BMC order an audit of all such bridges in Mumbai? And I'm like, what's the use of ordering another audit if the auditor is not even presenting the actual facts to the BMC? So there's a serious rot. It's very unfortunate that a bridge and an incident like this leads to FIRs being lodged against auditors, against officers. The contractor, for instance, has been blacklisted just a few hours ago. What is the use of blacklisting a contractor? The contractor, the auditor, the officer should be jailed. In my opinion, they should be booked under section 302 of the IPC, which basically is murder. And unless there is accountability fixed, unless people are shown that such actions will not be tolerated, whether it's a bridge collapse, whether it's potholes tomorrow during the monsoons, you will never see good governance in this city or in any other city in India.
Actually,
So I say this with great frustration that it's very, very unfortunate, and I don't want to play a political game and make it about party A or party B. But
No,
there
but
is a
what you're
rot
saying is rather
in the
worrying
system.
because you seem to suggest
the fact that, as I said,
this is
the-
not just
the
a faulty
BMC
audit.
orders an audit, the audit is wrong.
No, sorry, sorry to interrupt, but what you're suggesting is that this is not just an audit that went wrong, but something that was done with a malicious intent, with the collusion of the BMC as well. So that's what you're suggesting today.
I'm not going to make a frivolous allegation on your channel, Nidhi. I don't have any proof to substantiate that claim. But is there collusion between local level bureaucrats, politicians, contractors, builders, auditors? Absolutely there is. And clearly the fact that the BMC, which is right next door to this bridge, like a stone's throw away from this bridge, orders an audit. The audit says it only requires minor repairs, and few months later no action is taken, not even those minor repairs, and then this bridge collapses and kills people. What does that mean? Auditors are free to do what they want. There's no accountability. Contractors are free to do what they want. There's no accountability. You have potholes year after year, monsoon after monsoon. Many potholes, many contractors are blacklisted, and then they're given contracts again. So what is the use of blacklisting a contractor? What is the use of saying I want more audits if your audits themselves are faulty?
So, Mr. Chandrasekhar Prabhu, as someone who's an independent sort of urban planner, how do you look at this? Do you see this as a deep rot in the system the way Milind Deora sees it? And it does lead us to the question that you had more than 400 foot bridges that were being audited after the July collapse in Andheri last year. We don't know how many others are death traps for people today. Should we trust these audits anymore?
Nidhi, it's very simple. This is not a very complex issue and can be answered in a very simple way. Number one, what is an audit? There used to be a time, maybe 30 years ago, when people like me were called to look at these bridges, and we used to see by our own eyes or even touch some of the portion, find out what portion is deficient and so on. Today that's not the case. Today you have sonography machines which give reports. Today you have X-ray machines which give reports. Today you have hammer machines which give reports. So today a structural audit has very little to do with human intervention. It has everything to do with these sophisticated machinery which you deploy. Within 10 minutes you get report as to whether the particular slab is good enough to hold that kind of weight or not. So to me it's a ridiculous situation that you're saying someone has audited the thing. What has he audited? He just has to bring a couple of equipments and check whether the thing is good or bad. Everything, when you X-ray a slab, its strength of the slab as it stands today is thoroughly exposed, and you get a list of the strength of various items in the bridge if you want. And it doesn't take more than a couple of hours to assess the strength of an entire bridge, because you just
Well,
do it with the help
from
of
what you're
machinery.
saying, from what you're saying,
And
frankly,
the
it doesn't give
reports
people
are
the
in
confidence.
black and white.
Then you know there could be many other footbridges in Mumbai which are still very vulnerable, and obviously we didn't learn from the lesson of Elephantstone in which 23 people were killed when that stampede happened in 2017, and now then Andheri, and now this where you had 6 people dead. We have Mr. Niranjan Shetty, who is the BJP spokesperson in Mumbai, also joining us this evening. And Mr. Shetty, you know, Milind Deora making the point that, you know, the contractor has been blacklisted a few hours ago. Shouldn't the contractor be arrested and booked for murder?
I fully agree with Mr. Milind Deora's view. I am for it. But having said that, I would like to say that it was their government during many years past, either in the state or the center also.
No, what does that mean? Your government is in the state in Maharashtra right now. You are
he's
running the BMC
He is
also
the next
with
member
the
of
Shiv
parliament, and he has been an honorable member. He has been an honorable member also, an honorable minister also.
But what does that have? What does he have to do with the BMC right now? It's you
No, I
guys
said-
Can I please
and the
respond?
Shiv Sena. What is your response?
no.
Are you going to
What-
blame Jawaharlal Nehru for what happened at the
Can I
footbridge
please
yesterday,
respond?
Mr. Shetty?
I didn't begin. If somebody is pointing and saying that somebody should be booked for something, then I am asking only one simple question. When they had been ruling in the center as well as the
no,
state.
Mr. Shetty, you tell us what you
what
are
kind
doing.
of action they have
No,
taken.
Mr. Shetty, why don't you first tell us what you are doing with the 30,000 crore budget of the BMC? What is the state government doing? You had the Railways Minister Piyush Goyal making these grand statements after the Andheri collapse about these audits of these bridges. Who's taken responsibility? Has Mr. Goyal taken responsibility? Has Mr. Fadnavis taken responsibility? Is the BMC taking responsibility?
Nidhi, should I read out the number of bridges built since 1954 to 1971 onwards?
Mr.
And how
Shetty,
many years
Are you really going to get
let
into
me allow.
political
If
whataboutery when 6
if there
people
is
have just died
accountability-
yesterday?
No, if you are going to ask me for the accountability of just for 5 years, are you not going to ask the accountability of 55 years of
No,
governance?
I will ask
or
you because this has
misgovernance?
happened under your watch right now. We'll talk about
Of
55
course,
years
that's
later.
That's it.
Let's
That's
talk
the
about
thing.
what happened
That's what I'm
yesterday.
saying.
Let's talk about Elephantstone. Talk about Andheri.
No,
what have you
basically,
done?
you need to understand, now you will never ask the person who built that FOB, foot over bridge, during 1984.
So you have no responsibility. What was this audit that was done a few months
Who's
ago?
denying the responsibility? Who's denying the
I'm
responsibility?
sorry, Mr. Shetty,
It was-
but that is
it
an
was the
extremely
seriousness
unacceptable
when the
way
Elphiston-
to shrug off
You
responsibility.
spoke about the Elphiston bridge.
24 hours
Nidhi,
haven't
when
even
you
passed
spoke
since this
about
has
the
happened and
Elphiston
you're
bridge,
already blaming
it
the
was
Congress
we
for
who
it.
built. It was we who built the Elphiston bridge with the army, with the help of the army.
Are you going to call the army to build more bridges now? Is that what the army should be
Not
doing?
necessary. Not necessary. Not necessary.
Milind Deora, you wanted to come in?
No, I just want to say, firstly, I didn't even say BJP, Shiv Sena, Congress, NCP in my opening remarks. I chose last night not to politicize it, and I was choosing to do the same thing today. In fact, I said, regardless of who gets into power, there is a nexus between officers, bureaucrats, and contractors. It's very unfortunate that a man like Mr. Shetty is echoing a very different view from his chief minister. It's unfortunate that he doesn't even have the basic knowledge that his party has been ruling the BMC for the past 25 years. And if he's talking about a bridge that was built in 80s, let me educate Mr. Shetty that anything that is built, a house that is built, a building that is built, obviously needs repairs. So if someone has built something 50 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, does that mean if you're in power today, you neglect it? What nonsense are you talking about? Clearly, I don't know who he is
Can
and
I
how
respond?
you got him on the show and what kind of a spokesperson he is. But let me
Oh,
just say this,
lovely. Yeah,
this
yeah.
issue goes beyond Congress, BJP,
Mr.
Shiv
Milind
Sena,
Deora, I know
NCP.
you are an honorable man. You have
Mumbaikars
been an
are
honorable member of
upset and
ex-parliament.
angry.
But please,
my limited point
please
is
do not-
to him and to
Yeah.
other political parties, please stop
Don't-
politicizing
you
this
ask
issue.
your-
Mumbaikars
please
are
ask
upset and
Mr.
angry
Sanjay Nirupam
if
when
they
we face
feel
other spokesperson
that a
of
bridge,
yours
they are not
who
safe
doesn't
with a
even
bridge.
know the basic
What
necessity,
kind of,
and
what are
then
we
you are
talking
going
about
to-
when we talk of a bullet train, when
Hey,
we
what-
talk of smart
what?
cities?
I'm going to read
Is
out
this
the
a
number
smart
of
city?
foot over bridge.
Is this
Are
the
you going
meaning
to
of a
serve the
smart
Mr.
city?
responsibility?
Shetty,
Please
Mr.
tell me
Shetty,
that.
Please don't
No,
distract from the
Nidhi, are
issue
you not
here.
going to
I
ask
have a
the
very
honorable
simple question for you,
ex-honorable
Mr.
member?
Shetty.
Are
The
you not going
BMC
to
has
ask
a budget of
ask
more
him the
than
accountability?
30,000 crores. I
You
want
will
to
allow
know
you. No, no.
why is
Are
that
you
not
not
being
going to
spent
ask
on
the honorable
safety?
ex-member of the
No, I'm
member
not,
of
because he's
parliament?
not in power right now.
This is
You
the
are.
same south of Mumbai.
No, clearly this gentleman doesn't know the difference between a member of parliament, a municipal councillor and an MLA.
How many times
Very
has he
unfortunate.
taken the pains to
Very
see that
unfortunate
all kind
that
of this
an
structural audit was
uneducated,
done in this,
uninformed
during this governance?
spokesperson is coming there.
Well, I'm just going to sort of get out of
Sorry?
this tutu meme
Sorry, I
for
didn't
a
get
minute.
it. What?
Because
And let me say, Nidhi,
Yeah.
clearly Mr. Shetty isn't echoing the sentiments of his Chief Minister, Mr. Fadnavis. To his credit, Mr. Fadnavis gave a decent statement yesterday.
Sir, I have been
respect him
seeing
for that.
since yesterday
I hope he's
the way
taking
you have
action
been
and not
alleging of
listening
the
to cartoons
government.
like the spokesperson
I
on his
want to
channel,
ask
on your
Mr.
channel right
Prabhu.
now.
I want to
have
ask
been
Mr.
alleging
Chandrasekhar
since
Prabhu.
yesterday.
then.
I have been seeing your
Mr.
bites,
Prabhu,
sir.
the
With due
the
respect to
worrying
you.
part is, Mr. Shetty, give me a moment. Mr. Prabhu, the worrying part is, and I keep coming to that, the BMC has this massive budget. Is this a big hole? I mean, are we really are we really holding that money to account? Isn't it time that the citizens of Mumbai ask most serious questions of holding the BMC accountable?
Nidhi, just hear me out. You know, you cut me off at the earlier time. I wanted to complete my argument. My argument is very simple. The auditing process is no more a process which an individual does. It has something to do with equipments which is foolproof. My allegation is that I suspect that no audit was done. This was just a visual inspection and a report was given that nothing ought to be done. If there would have been proper equipments used to take x-rays of the slabs or to take sonographic readings of the bridge in different parts, we would have got a different report, because the machine doesn't lie, it tells the truth. I think that was not done. That is number one. Number two, very clearly, if an auditor has given a report, the BMC has a galaxy of engineers, 1,300 odd qualified engineers who understand the construction of bridges very well. That's what they are trained in. That's what they are supposed to do. So when an auditor gives you a report, you verify the report. You go on site and check with the auditor, why have you said that this requires minor repairs? You really think that this requires minor repairs? What were the engineers doing? I think there is much more to this than what meets the eye. I think there is a conspiracy by which certain funds of the BMC get siphoned into the pockets of specific contractor, and the whole machinery is geared towards siphoning of funds. There is massive amount of corruption in which, you know, these small little reports and audits, and finally you find some private auditor being hanged.
I think that's the point Milind Deora was trying to make as well earlier.
So many
that it's
people,
the whole system which is
and
rotten.
then no one would be held responsible. So the responsibility lies squarely on the municipal corporation, on the people who are manning the department, the people who are responsible for the upkeep of the bridge, also the people who are responsible for understanding the auditing reports and how did they approve it.
Absolutely.
And how can
Perhaps
such a
Perhaps the
major
time has come
collapse
to
happen
make these
if the
reports
audit
public.
report says nothing,
Let it
nothing
be a
is
more
gone
transparent
wrong.
process. Perhaps the time has come for that. Thank you to all of you for joining us tonight. We're not taking our eyes off this story, because over the next few days we are going to continue to investigate how this audit was allowed to go through and who exactly is going to be held accountable. As Milind Deora was saying earlier, it's not enough just to blacklist the contractor. Who is actually being held responsible under the law for what has happened in Mumbai yesterday? Thanks for watching. Good night.